everybody, and welcome to another episode of Out of the Box. And of course, you have myself, Elvira, Johnny, and Chloe, but we have someone special today. Oh my gosh, such a huge fan of Dollastic, one of our OG doll toy YouTubers. All three of us obviously have watched you, which I can't believe has been going to be 11 years this year. You said one of your first videos in November of 2013. It's such an honor to have you here to share your doll YouTube journey and all of your life changes that have happened over the past decade. And one question that we would love to ask any of our guests is what got you into doll collecting?
Oh my gosh. What got me into doll collecting? It's a long story. So I was always kind of into toys, but when I was actually little, I was more into robots. Believe it or
Oh,
not, I was a huge, huge tomboy. Like I'm talking about like really boy shirt cut hair. People thought that I was a little boy. But so I was more into collecting like robots and stuff like that, dolls here and there. But what really got me into doll collecting was after immigrating to the United States, I started reading a lot more um manga and Korean manhwa, which is like Korean version of manga.
mm,
And I was online one day and this girl that I follow who also drew a lot, um, she started actually making her character, original character into a doll form. And how she did it, she used Lika-chan doll and she
yeah.
would make it into her own character. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I never thought of that. So I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do that. But like at that time, Lika-chan was not as readily available here in the States because this
Mm.
is, I feel old. This is when internet was dial-up.
I
So
remember
like,
those days with you. Don't worry.
yeah, this is back when internet was dial-up and stuff like that. So like imported toys were not readily available in the States. So I was looking for different ways and I found eBay. And from eBay, I found my very first doll, which unfortunately I do not have anymore. During so many moves that my family had, I lost that doll. But that doll I was like so focused on creating my OG characters into a doll form. And then the
Oh,
rest is
cool.
history. I mean, I started making like more OG characters into dolls as BJDs. And
Oh,
then I got into Monster High and other dolls, and I'm like, I can't make Monster High into my OG character. They're just so unique themselves. I
mhm.
can't alter them to my OG character. So it just grew. But that's how it happened.
Wow. I never knew that about you. That's amazing. You
Yeah.
said that you were turning your dolls into characters. Like, how were you doing that? Were you like creating like outfits for them or like restyling them, I guess, so to speak? Were you doing that to the dolls?
So I'm not very fashionable person. I'm very much of a t-shirt and jeans.
Mhm.
So I wasn't really able to restyle them, but what I really was into was actually doing their face ups.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I would like remove their makeup and do their face up and everything. My very first face up, I didn't know how to make fine lines, so I used toothpick to make very thin lines.
Oh, I've seen
I
people
wish
do
I had
that. I
that.
feel like even customizers to this day still, I
I
mean, a
use
toothpick,
I use
it works.
toothpicks. I
See,
use toothpicks to customize.
if it works, if it's not broke, don't fix it type of situation. And I feel like I do see a lot
Yeah.
of other like doll artists and stuff use toothpicks still. That's so cool
Uh-huh.
though. Yeah, so you have a lot of,
Yeah.
I noticed then you're mentioning like you could draw and paint on them. Is that something that you've always done as well? Because it's so funny. Last week we were talking to Matt from the Doll Aisle, and he
Mhm.
has an artist background as well. So that's just
Uh-huh.
kind of interesting. Do you still draw? Is that something that you do career wise or just for fun?
Actually, I think about 2 years ago, 2 years ago, I came to conclusion and I made peace with my heart that I'm not going to pursue art as my career.
Mm.
Before, I always felt like I had to pursue art as my career because I always dreamt of it. I wanted to become a mangaka or I wanted to become an artist and then I wanted to become a computer animator. It was just on and on and on, something related to art. But then
Mm.
about 2 years ago, I was like, I'm okay doing this as a hobby and pursuing something else as a career. And if you were to ask me what I want to pursue as a career now, I couldn't tell you. I'm still figuring it out. Um, But I'm okay pursuing that as my hobby. But as far as doll customizing goes, I honestly haven't customized one in 10 years. But
Wow.
before that, I was customizing like nonstop. I actually have some that I customized 10 years ago, and the face-up is still holding up.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah,
Oh, it's like little like
yeah,
museum, little artifacts of your
yeah,
doll history that you have.
yeah.
That's really cute. Oh, I
Mhm.
love that. That's so interesting.
Wow.
I know
Yeah, that
we're all
is
sitting here just like again, it's your like
wow.
OG celebrity, OG
Oh,
YouTuber. I know I'm sitting here going, I'm like thinking back of all of your videos. Like a question for Johnny and
mhm.
Chloe. Is there any videos from Dollastic that stand out for you that are some of your favorites? Or is it just for me, to me, what always stands out when I think of you is a lot of your doll hunting, because I think that's what you did quite frequently, as
Yeah,
a lot of us did 10 years ago on YouTube, was doll
uh-huh,
hunting. Johnny
yeah.
and Chloe, were there any videos that stood out for either one of you that you really loved from Dollastic?
Yeah, so for me, this is actually how I even found your channel, and it's not even at all related. So I this is an early on video. You posted a video about the Super Mario blind bags, and they had the
Oh my
code that
gosh.
connects. So
Uh-huh,
I feel like that was like one of your at least the first five videos on there. So at the time, I was collecting them, and I searched the video. I'm like, oh, let me see if someone has the codes, and your video popped up, and I was like,
uh-huh.
let me just follow in case there's like more series and more codes. And then after that, it just snowballed. I'm like, oh, I love you so much. Like
Oh.
there's just something about you, like you have such a positive attitude, and there's a you have a good aura about you. That's just like I just gravitate towards watching you, and that's where it started. And then I just kept watching. I love all your zelfs. I love whenever you would do the blind bag marathons. Those are
Uh-huh.
some of my favorites. And yeah, but that's where I started. So that was my first interaction with your channel, was like the Mario figures. So those are some of my favorites, the blind bags. Hmm.
Ooh, yeah, I would say the blind bag videos were some of my favorite to watch as well. But I also really, really enjoyed the toy hunts with your sister
Uh-huh.
because I also have like a sister who I'm really, really close with, and we like that was our bonding, dolls and playing together and seeing you with your sister. I was like, oh my God, like there are other people who are just like me and my sister. And I don't
Mhm.
have a specific video that I like remember, the very first video that I remember seeing like you, but like I said, it was probably like a recommended video, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna watch it, and it just went from there. And it's crazy to hear like how it's also very unique to hear how you started with dolls, because I don't think I've ever heard anyone say, "Oh, I started by wanting to create my own original dolls." So that's
Mhm.
how I got into doll collecting. It's always like, "Oh, I started with this brand or this brand and this doll and this doll." So that's
Mhm.
really, really awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
that is
you.
really, really interesting. I mean, to touch back on what you were saying about robots, like, do you mean like when you were collecting, like, was it like Transformers? Was it like Voltron? Was it
Voltron.
Gundam? Was it, oh, it was Voltron.
Voltron.
Okay. I was trying to think. I was like, I wonder which kind of robots,
Yeah.
Oh, but do you still
I
have a lot of those now?
No, actually, when my family immigrated to the United States, we had to condense a lot of our stuff to move here. And I believe I was 11 or 12. I might be wrong, but I think I was 11 or 12. So it was like right at the age where people were saying, "Oh yeah, you need to let go of your toys, you need to grow up." So I had to give pretty much all of my toys to my teacher's child. My teacher had a little girl and a little boy who got all of my toys from
Mm.
my family. And then I think I came here with one plushie.
Wow.
And that plushie sadly retired like a year ago, but I had it all this time. I had to retire it because it was just falling apart. But yeah. I
Oh,
did not grow up watching Transformers. I don't know if it was ever aired in Korea when I was growing up, but I grew up with Voltron. So I remember in Korea they had this one TV show where you could draw fan art and you send it to them, and if you win, they send you Voltron. And they had this huge Voltron that I really wanted, and I sent so many fan art, but I never wanted.
Oh,
Oh, I mean, I wonder, like,
Same.
I was like gonna say, like, can we find it on eBay and then send it to you? You know what I mean?
Right?
Oh, that's so cool though. Yeah, it's very interesting. I obviously know people who collect like Transformers, Voltron, things like that, but I never knew that that was like the first thing that you particularly ever
Uh-huh.
collected. So I remember watching all your videos. I never really heard you mention that. So that's kind of interesting. That's different.
Yeah.
I know we talked about like some of like Johnny and Chloe's favorite videos. Do you have a favorite video that you've ever put out? I know you put out a lot of content, but is there one that you're like,
Oh.
oh, this is me. This is like my favorite video or something that really like stood out to your in your YouTube career?
Hmm.
You're like all of them. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, all of to me, I guess my toy hunts just in general is very special to me for the reason that I enjoyed making those videos so much, but also I love going back and watching my time with my sister.
Um,
So it's
That's so
not necessarily I go back to see what old toys were available then. That is fun too, but I just love my sister and me just going back and forth and bonding even more. I just love watching that. So yeah, those are my favorite videos. I actually watch them sometimes by myself.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm not alone. We were talking about this the other day, and I was like, I like to go back and watch my own videos. I give
Huh?
myself the view. I give myself the view. I will admit it. But I
Yeah.
like to go back, and I think it's for the same reason, like that you have, where like you can
Mhm.
kind of have like that memory of like that flashback and that moment and that feeling and the joy. And I do
Yeah.
that too. I'm guilty of doing that too. I'm not ashamed of
Yeah.
it. Thank you for confirming.
Yay. You're not alone.
I'm not alone.
one thing that we did notice on your YouTube channel that there was a little bit of a gap recently, and then recently you did start posting again.
Mhm.
Where do you think you're going to take your channel going forward? Are you going to, we saw that you did some organization videos recently. Like, are you going more
Mhm.
in that route? Do you plan on toy hunting again? Do you plan on showing more collection stuff? Like, so what, do you even have a plan? You're like, no, I'm just,
Oh my
posting
gosh.
whatever.
I have a plan that is not a plan, and that's the plan.
Oh, that's usually my plan too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
Well,
we
the
go.
thing is, I do want to do toy hunts, because I thought just like how I love going back to my old toy hunts and seeing my interaction with my sister and like reminiscing that time. I thought about it the other day. I was like, how fun would it be if I go on toy hunt with my new baby daughter and
Oh.
I see how everything went with her and like if she gets excited because I noticed that she gets excited about Rainbow High. She loves my Rainbow High dolls. So
Oh, that's
I
so
thought
cool.
it would be so fun to like take her toy hunt and then see her actually get interested in like certain toys that I never really thought to collect. And it would be just like so fun to kind of have that locked. Um, but the only thing is, and Elvira, I think you are also in Florida. I
Mhm.
don't know if your area is the same way, but I live so close to Disney, so many collectors. It's so hard to find anything because everything gets picked through so quickly.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I feel
I
like same
don't,
close to
yeah,
Orlando. So yeah, I know there are a lot of collectors in this area, which is nice. I love when I go somewhere
yeah,
and I happen to walk into somebody and they're like, "Oh, doll collecting, toy collecting," So that's
yeah.
fun in that aspect. But yes, I do
Mhm.
feel like there is a lower volume of product because there is more collectors. But I love that
Yeah.
you're shifting your journey. Again, congratulations on your newborn.
Thank
But
you.
I love that you're taking something that's your passion and now sharing it with your child and watching you over the past 10 years. I mean, a lot of us have watched you toy hunting and then, like you mentioned, dating and then getting married and now having children and like going into your, your whole adult life here. I think that's just, as a viewer, I love experiencing that with you. So I'm really excited to hear that you're going to be sharing that doll collecting experience with your daughter. And I hope,
Mhm.
maybe they'll get into robots.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe they'll
Who
get into
knows?
like stuff
Yeah,
that you like, or yeah, or maybe something completely different. And I think that's such a cute little
yeah.
journey that you're going to take them on and
Mhm.
everything. I love that. And that's one thing, like, obviously you are a new mother and as a toy collector. I mean, how has that been as a toy collector, as a doll collector, going through motherhood? Are you looking at your dolls going, okay, you guys, I can't buy as many of you? Are you making some of those hard choices right now?
Yes and no. Because I still get what I want. Let's be honest.
As you
Let's
should.
be honest. Like if I want something, I'll find a way to get it. That's actually my very first doll I told you was a doll that I wanted to customize, but then my second doll was a BJD, and he was not very cheap. He was over $1,000. And I bought him by myself with my own saved money when I was in middle school. I don't know how old I was, but this was 2003. But I saved my money and I got that doll. So because I did that so early on, I have learned very quickly to save for things that I want. So at the end of the day, if I see a doll that I like in the store, I'll get it. I'll find a way to get it, you know?
That's good though. Like you sound very financially aware and financially sound, because as doll collectors with so many releases sometimes coming out, whether it's the new Monster High dolls or etc. It can get overwhelming. I mean, it seems like for a while there, it was like every week a new Monster High doll. It's like, how do you budget for that? And that is something I think a lot of us deal with in and out of the doll community. So it's great to hear that you have that checked and balanced.
Yeah.
It can get out of hand very, very quickly. So that's great to hear though that you're doing that. And one thing I remember from watching a lot of your older videos was I saw you had a lot of like My Little Pony, a lot of Monster High. Is there anything new that you're collecting or something that you've shifted out of that? Of course, again, you haven't been doing a lot of YouTube videos on it. So what have you been collecting? What has it been exciting you, I guess, recently in the toy world?
So Rainbow High, I was collecting Rainbow High for a hot minute until they got very overwhelming, and then the Generation 2 came out, you know? And then
yeah, we're all like nodding, we're like, yes.
We know.
And I have been actually secretly collecting more Zelfs because I was collecting Zelfs, but then with all the, do you remember, like, you know, years ago you would go to Toy Store, Toys R Us or Target or Walmart, and you would be so bombarded with amazing toys. You had to choose what you were going to buy with your budget. So I left a lot of Zelfs behind during that time. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I really want that Zelf. So I've been slowly stalking eBay and Mercari and collecting those, you know?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't heard of Zelfs in so long. I have a few, because I did go a little wild with Zelfs for a minute there years ago. I only have a few left, but yeah, when you mentioned that, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't thought about those in so long.
That makes me so happy. I still have my Zelf collection.
Oh, any of you? Did anybody have a favorite Zelf?
Oh, yes, I actually obtained it. I actually obtained it like few weeks ago when I did a major unboxing. I need to post a part 2, but I actually got my Grailed Zelf. Do you want to see?
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. Which one is it? Oh, they're so cute. I don't even remember that one. Was that like a limited edition or an exclusive?
It was towards the end. I didn't even know this one existed.
That one is so cute. Oh my God.
I know.
So overwhelmed.
So cute.
Oh, I love the little bow.
I know, it's a little mouse. Look at the tail. It's in a shape of a heart.
I was gonna ask, is it a little mouse?
So
yeah, it's a little mouse.
Who made these? Who are these made by?
Moose.
Moose. Yes.
Yeah, I have a few favorites. Like I like the bat one. The bat one was probably one of my favorites because it reminded me of like if Draculaura and Zelfs had a child, it would be the bat one because she was pink and black.
This one smells 80s. This one smells 80s. For sure.
Wow. Do you have a favorite Zelf, Johnny?
Mine is, I wish I had it. It's like right there, but it's like in a storage. But it's a purple one, and he has the black hair. He has like the little wings on the back. I think he's also a little vampire too.
Yes,
that one is one of my favorites. And then of course Venus is my favorite Monster High character. So I did have to get the green one with the pink and green hair. That is also one of my favorites. So those two are my favorites as of right now. But I've been wanting. It's so funny that you bring them up because I've been wanting to get back into them. So it's like now I'm gonna have the bug. You gave me the bug to because I'm gonna be like I'm gonna have it in my cart and it's gonna be like sold. I'm like, it was elastic. She bought it.
Oops.
I know.
I know. I'm like, now I have to like look into them and maybe like get one or two.
I thought they were so good. I feel I wouldn't even be mad if they did a reboot. Yeah.
Yeah, how many series of them did they have? Like 4 or
I'm
5,
not sure. Yeah, four. mm,
maybe.
I think honestly, I think they stopped making they stopped shipping them to US pretty early, but then they continued making them, and I think they still released them in Australia and stuff. I think. I might be wrong.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That
Ooh.
makes sense then. Obviously, Moose being an Australian company, so if they, I guess there's
Mhm.
enough popularity there for them. But yeah, because I remember it was out for a good amount of time, but I knew they had a few different waves because they had the small little mini surprise ones, the medium size, I guess we'll call them, and then the much
Uh-huh.
larger size. So I know they had like a lot of like variations and like one with the little play sets and stuff. So I
Uh-huh.
thought they were cute. I like Treasure Trolls.
Yeah.
So when I saw Zelfs, I was like, oh, Treasure Trolls, Zelfs. It's like kind of in the same universe. So
Yeah.
fun.
Wow.
I love that. Is there anything else that you are right now, like you're like, because obviously you said you were really into Rainbow High there for a minute, doll wise, that you're really into or excited about this summer?
Well, doll wise, I'm really excited about, oh my gosh, the Magic Mixies. The bigger one, what
Big
are
Mm,
they called?
one,
Are
yeah.
they called
pix
Royals?
the
Pixlings.
The
pixlings, the magic pixlings.
Well, they have two sizes.
Pixlings?
They have the little one, but you're talking about the big
Yeah.
one, the
The
fashion
new
doll
Yeah,
big
size.
one.
I'm
Yes.
really excited about the big one. I love the little ones too, but when I saw the big one, I was like, give it to me. I need it. So that
I'm
one I'm really, really
excited.
excited about. I also this is like, I mean, of course, the Monster High G3 Monster Highs I'm very excited about too. But I am very excited about the Monster High Skeletor Hocus Pocus possibly coming
Ooh.
out. That's the rumor.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm saving up for that one for sure.
Thank you for reminding me. I need to save up for that one too, because I think that might be my first collector I buy. I
Mm,
love Hocus Pocus. I grew up on Hocus Pocus. I love
uh-huh.
anything witchy, and oh my god, yes, I'm excited for that. Thank you for reminding me.
Gotta get
Yeah,
it.
that one's gonna be chaotic to get. Have you had luck with all of the drops, like, or have you missed out on some? Because I've had bad luck where I missed out on some of the dolls.
You mean Skeletor?
Oh, that's collectors.
Or well, I actually got Elvira. Funny because I'm actually selling my Elvira. Um, but I got my Elvira hoping to start my Skeletor collection because I didn't really have any Skeletor dolls prior. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna get every single Skeletors. Got my Elvira. And then they came out with Annabelle. And I just had a weird feeling about Annabelle. I know there are horror fans out there, and I know that's really popular for horror fans, but something about Annabelle being an actual thing, like before all the Skeletor characters have been kind of fictional,
Yeah.
but then
Okay.
Annabelle is a real thing. So it just like it just didn't sit right with me. And so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna get Annabelle. And if I'm not going to get Annabelle, what's the point of keeping Elvira? you know?
Mm.
So because I wanted to, if that's the case, I wanted to only get the Skeletor dolls that actually mean something to me.
Mhm.
So I got Nightmare Before Christmas because I'm a huge Disney fan, and now I am waiting for Hocus Pocus.
Aw,
So
I hope
thank
you get it. Good luck.
Good luck.
you.
Very,
Yes.
very
Yeah, I
stressful.
know
It's
it's
so
the
stressful getting
Skeletor
those.
drops tend to be a battle,
Yes.
unfortunately. But that's sound, but see, it's
Mhm.
good though. Again, I to touch back on earlier where we were saying that, sometimes doll collecting can be overwhelming. There are so many drops. How do you balance the finance with wanting to also be a part of the purchasing experience and stuff? So it's great to hear that you are balancing in the way where you're only buying the ones that are meaningful, like related to
Yeah.
Disney or certain characters. And I agree with you. I'm transitioning into that place. For a while I was like, I need every Skullactor, I need every, and now I'm
Mhm.
more like, if it's cute, I'll get it. I'm kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
pausing myself, or like if it's something where I feel like a connection to, where like the Addams Family release, I loved those movies, so I was like, oh, I need the
Mhm.
Addams Family one. So I kind of am trying to manage it, and I think that's important to talk about in the doll community, because a lot of us, we feel the pressure almost, where it's like, oh, everyone's buying it, everyone's collecting it, I need to be a part of that as well, even
Mhm.
when you shouldn't sometimes for financial responsibilities. So
Yeah. I think it is
thank
Mhm.
very
you.
important to be talked about, like you said. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to do that whole destashing and put it as a video out there because I wanted people to be like, oh yeah, I've seen Lastic shop, 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 shop for all these years, but I've never really seen her let things go, which I have done in the past in the background, but not to this extent ever in 10 years. So that's why I was like, okay, this is the first time in 10 years that I'm doing this big of a D-stash. But it's part of, I think, collecting, you know, like even with my previous collection prior to YouTube, I would get things, and then if I get detached from it, I would let it go, you know, let it go to a new home,
Yeah.
and then get new things in and then let it go and stuff like that. And um also, I remember this one comment from a while ago. Somebody said one of the reasons why I like watching your toy hunt is because I see you look at the sale, hold the doll, and really think about if you want to have it or not. And then if you decide you don't want to, you show putting it back.
Yeah.
And she was like, I like seeing that because it makes me feel like I can do that too. So
Oh, I
yeah,
love
I'm hoping.
that.
Yeah.
I love that. That is such, yes, it's such an important thing to talk about because, like you said, I think for so long as a viewer, I saw a lot
Mhm.
of my like favorite YouTubers, even not doll related YouTubers, that would purchase, buy, grow their collections. And I would always be like, oh, I'm missing out. I need to
Mhm.
be just like that. I need to buy
Mhm.
every single this, every single that, even if I didn't like feel attached to it. Just I would just get it to get it. And so
Mhm.
like I had to learn very early on that that is not going to be possible.
Yeah.
You have to be financially responsible, but you
Mhm.
also have to be aware of the space you're in because I
Yeah.
think space is such a huge thing for I think a lot of collectors where like for me right now, I feel really sad when I have like all my dolls on display, but then I see that like for example, my Monster High and Ever After High collection completely is in storage because I don't have
Mhm.
space for it. I don't have
Mhm.
I had a big Stitch collection and I had to stop collecting Stitch because I found myself
Dang.
just buying the product. Well, you were the one of the persons who I saw had a big Stitch collection. I was like, maybe I need to do that too. But I genuinely like the character too. But all of that is in storage and I had to stop buying because for a really long time I found myself going to the store and like if it was Stitch, I would buy it. Anything Stitch, I would buy it. I would bring it home and it would sit in a box for weeks. I'm like, I don't even have this stuff displayed. It's kind of sad. I feel
Mhm.
bad for my items, you know? So
Mhm.
I I also like feel that with you guys as well. I think it's something so like it's okay to not collect everything. It's okay to only get the things that really spark joy like in your collection. You
Mhm.
don't have to be a completionist if that's not what you want to do.
Yeah.
So I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
And things
those are
are
all
things,
great
and
points.
after I sell it, if I want it again, I'll get it back. You know, somehow
That
I'll find
part.
it back. Yeah.
That part.
That's
Yeah.
good to
Me.
keep in mind that just because you're letting something go doesn't mean it's literally gone forever. Like, of course, something that holds sentimental value, a toy that you've
Mm-hmm.
had since you were like 5, very different. But in general, though, if it's like just a doll that you happen to purchase because you were excited about it, if you let it go, there's eBay. You know, there's other options and venues to get that doll back if you do ever feel regretful or change your mind. And I think these are all really good points to bring up because there is a lot of overconsumption in social media and a lot of people where you, like you said, you showed putting it back. A lot of YouTubers, even outside of the doll and toy community, you see them grabbing stuff, but a lot of those people put stuff back off camera and they don't
Mm-hmm.
show that portion of it where you hold something and you're like, do I really need that? And that process of saying, if I still want it in a week or two, then I'll go back and get it. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like a lot of with special social media, you just don't see that side of it. You just see the
Yeah.
overconsumption side of it. And
Yeah.
I feel like as toy collectors, I hear a lot of people say that even to me personally, I've seen in things where they're like, oh, I just see you getting all these dolls and stuff, but they don't see that, like you said, I sell a lot. Like last year, I probably have sold 1,200 pieces out of my collection, which is an insane number to
Oh
say
my
out loud.
gosh.
It's like, did I have that much? Uh, but that's a big part of it is that collector is like one thing out, one thing in, the balance side of things. So I think that's great that you're showing that on your channel and really showing I like to call it decluttering because sometimes it can be very cluttering when you have dolls.
Yeah.
Do you still collect Stitch randomly? I know that Chloe was talking about Stitch.
I
Are you
do.
still a Stitch
I
fan?
do. I do, but it's unfortunately my Stitch collection. If I were to let it display, um, it would actually take up my entire room.
Oh,
So
wow.
Oh my God.
I got to a point, I actually talked to my husband. I'm like, I think I'm going to dwindle down my Stitch collection because there are, like Chloe, there were Stitch merch that I bought because it's Stitch.
That part.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
but all of my Stitch collections are actually in storage right now. I had to do that when we were getting new floors done to this house. So they had to be put away. But I am slowly chipping at my storage boxes, and once I get to store Stitch boxes, I will start destashing some of them. There are some pieces that are special to me, and then there are going to be pieces that I'm going to pick up and be like, I had this, you know? Those can
That's
go.
that's how
Yeah,
I
we've
am
we've all
too.
been there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
decluttering some of my. I have some bags full of toys like in my closet, and I was looking through it. It felt like Christmas because I forgot I had them. But I saw it's like I bought the doll twice because I forgot I had it, which is so
Oh
weird.
my gosh. Yes, guilty.
And I'm just like, this is bad.
Yeah.
I've
No,
been there
yeah.
too.
Yeah, for me, moving forward with Stitch, I think I told myself that you could still collect Stitch because it's a character I genuinely like. But I think moving forward, I'm only collecting Stitch merch that I absolutely love or that it's very like limited. I also think over the years, Stitch has become like this big thing for Disney, and you see
Mhm.
it everywhere at every
Oh,
store. And that for me is a problem because I'm
yeah.
like, well, it's everywhere. It's kind of like Barbie. I can't collect every Barbie thing out there.
Hmm.
There's just too much. Yeah, so I told myself that I was only gonna like things that are very very special or just I don't know, like unique for my Stitch
Hmm.
collection because I, I
Yeah.
I saw myself buying every single plush, every single thing, and I'm like, this is the same plush with a different bow tie. This is the same
Hmm.
plush with a different little thing. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
the same figure in a different color. I'm like, it makes no sense to have every single thing repeated in different colors,
Mhm.
So yeah. I don't even know where I was going with that, but
There is a
yeah.
lot of Stitch now that I mean, I wonder because obviously, like, there's favorite characters from Disney that I think fluctuate in and up depending on when the movies are coming out or if there's like a 10-year anniversary, et cetera, et cetera. But I do feel like Stitch is so popular, and especially when I think back like Funko. There's like 1,000 different Stitch Funkos right now from like
Hmm.
pop figures
Yeah.
and stuff. I wonder if is he like the most popular? Is he the most popular
He
Disney character? I
he's one
wonder.
of the most marketed and most like, I guess, collectible Disney character. It's actually worse. I don't know if you guys are into Disney pins. I am into Disney pins. I got into Disney pins during the pandemic. The good thing about pins is that it takes less space than dolls. But the bad side is that Disney likes to reuse art like constantly. Like you would see same Stitch art, same art, this small, I mean this big of a pin for Stitch, same art, this bigger, like this smaller, this much smaller, this much like they make like half an inch difference of the same art, but then if you're trying to be a completionist, you need to get every single one of them, and then it's like it becomes so daunting, you know?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I don't collect Stitch pins because of that reason.
Me too.
You're like, I
I
have
get it.
self-control right there. That is the one thing
Yeah.
I put my foot down is the pins. Yeah, I never really got into too many pins. I just have like maybe 4 or 5 that have really stood out. Like there's one Star Wars one where it's like them going for Halloween, like in a line lined up. I loved
Hmm.
that one, and it's like one of my favorite pins, and it's like one of the only ones I have. So I never went full force, but I do see a lot of people obsessed with the Disney pins. And I agree with you.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
a
like
problem.
the marketing teams with these companies, especially at Disney, they're like people are fanatics. People
Hmm.
will go, and so oh, half an inch difference, we know you're going to buy it. So it's like there. I mean,
Hmm.
consumption manipulation, whatever you want to call it, but yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
They're going to
they
get you
do.
for that pin,
Hmm.
like we want to get you for that pin. But I am genuinely excited though to see your journey going back into YouTube. Do you plan on? I know we touched on a little bit what kind of videos you want to do. Are you looking at doing like a video a month, a video a week, or are you just like gonna post whenever you feel like posting? Because I'm excited to see you come back to the YouTube world.
I want to have a schedule where I could maybe post once or twice a week, but right now, with the baby, I just don't know how much I can do. So I
Mhm.
am kind of doing it as I go and trying to get a feel of what is actually a feasible
Mhm.
plan. Because right now I could plan for 2 videos, but then if my baby is just not going to work with me, I can't do that, you know?
Oh,
So
but
right
that's good
now,
to hear
whenever
though.
I can.
Keeping it in an open structure is nice because then you don't feel the
Yes.
pressure. Because then again, it goes back to where like if you turn a hobby into something that's work related, then you get that pressure and then it becomes
Mhm.
overwhelming and then you don't want to do it. So it's
Yeah.
good to hear that you're going into it with like an open mind of like, okay, I'm going to post when I can, be very balanced. Because I think a lot of people, we get those questions of like, oh, I can't keep up with my channel or I need to keep a schedule. And yeah, you always hear structures for algorithms, but at the end of the day, you need to post what feels right for you. So I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm excited to see where you're going to be posting and doing. And I love organization stuff. So if you end up doing a
Uh-huh.
lot of declutter videos and showcasing moving things around or just letting go, I think it's something that we need in the collecting world because I feel so much of it is look how big my collection is. Look how much stuff I have. And I think sometimes it's good to
Mhm.
show both sides. So that's very
Yeah.
exciting to hear and to see when you create more of this content that you're looking at doing.
Mhm.
One thing that we like to add into our videos is an out of the box moment. So something that stood out for you the past week, whether it's doll related or toy related or something that you just want to share with the audience of what
Uh-huh.
has been kind of going on in the Dollastic world. Is there anything that you want to show as or tell us about your out of the box moment?
Yes, and I actually have a prop for it, and I thought I had it right here. Can I go get it?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, what do you have for us for your out of the box moment?
Okay, so I need to kind of set the story up a little bit. Back when I started my YouTube in 2013, um, I don't know if you guys might already know, but the channel called Bin's Toy Bin.
Mhm. Familiar.
They're
Yes.
very good friends of mine, and they were pregnant at the moment. And then the following year in 2014, they gave birth to their son Tegan, who I absolutely love. He's like my nephew at heart.
Oh.
Um, and I remember going shopping at Babies R Us to um, give something because Melissa from Mommy and Gracie show at the time, she was putting together a virtual baby shower package. So I went shopping and I got him a little blanket. I got Tegan a little blanket and I included in that package and they sent it off. And we became really, really good friends. And I found out that Tegan, he really got attached to that little blanket that I sent him and he named it BB and it became his like little blanket buddy that every kid has, you know?
Aw.
Um, but anyway, so fast forward to now, we're still really good friends and they actually came and visited 2 days ago. And Tegan brought me the same exact blanket to
Aw.
match with my baby daughter. So now they have the
Oh,
matching blanket.
I love that. That is such a
Wow.
good
Yeah.
little memory moment. Oh my
What a
God.
full
That's
circle moment.
very
I was there for
thoughtful.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm getting teary-eyed. That's so cute.
So cute.
Isn't that so sweet? And that was apparently that was Tegan's idea too. And he's only 10 years old. What a thoughtful little 10-year-old boy.
That is awesome to
Wow.
hear. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that's so great. And it's
Yeah.
so great that you've kept in touch with some of your doll collecting friends too and toy collecting friends in real life too.
Mhm.
I love that. Wow. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like when you hear all these names of these OG YouTubers, I'm just like, wow, like it's so cool to see that everybody's still interacting and talking and knowing that they
Mhm.
have really thoughtful children, which is so wild that it like, that they're 10. Because I do remember them being pregnant too. So it's like, wow, it's like time flies so
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Like, as a viewer watching just everybody grow up, like I didn't feel myself growing up, but I saw everybody else growing up around me. Like for me, Froggy was one of the first YouTubers that I like doll related YouTubers that I watched. And seeing her like grow with her children and now her daughter's like in college and it's like,
No.
what? I'm like,
It's crazy.
I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm old, but also like I grew up with them. Like it's so crazy as a viewer to like just see the different stages of life that
Mhm.
other people go through because it's almost like you're right there with them, even though you're not, and you've never met some of the people that you watch. But like that's so crazy. I love that.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
The worst is when I've had people say like, "Oh, I watched you when I was a kid, and now I'm in college," and now I'm like, "Ah," I'm like, "Really?" You know, I'm like, "So you're telling me that was only like a year ago, right? Like that was only like a year or two ago, right? Okay." You know, but it's great though to hear it, and that they still occasionally hop on and watch or something, and it's just to hear that portion of it. It's really, really nice and sweet. Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. Oh, yay.
That's a good out of the box moment. That's a good
Good out of
one.
the
I like
box moment. We love
Yeah.
that. So sweet.
I was thinking the entire time, I was like, okay, I need to have a good out of the box moment. And when it happened, I was like,
that.
Perfect.
Did you guys go to Disney together? Because you said they were in town, or did you guys, did you end up going to Disney? Obviously, I feel like if somebody comes to Orlando, they want to go to Disney.
well, they went to Disney, but we didn't go with them because we just don't know what um our baby's boundaries are just
Mm.
yet. But we did go to Disney Springs this morning and we spent some time with them. So if you
Aw.
see my cheeks a little rosy, it's because I was outside.
I know the Florida heat
Yeah.
has been very real this summer.
Oh
It's
my gosh.
brutal. Yeah, it's like you're outside for a second and you're like, I'm melting. It's
Yeah.
just, it's pretty bad.
Yep.
Texas
That's
is
great to
right
hear
there
that
with
you're
y'all.
spending time with them and everything. Oh, I love that.
Mhm.
Johnny and Chloe, I want to open the floor to either of you. Do you have any other questions for Dollastic as we wrap up our episode?
Yeah, well, as we wrap up, I just really want to give you like such a big thank you to even want to be part of the podcast because like I said, like I've been watching you since that Connects Mario World video. So I've been watching you for so long, basically since the beginning. And when Chloe said that you agreed to do it, I was like so like I was so stoked because I'm like, oh my God, I feel like we don't know each other like that, but I feel like I grew up with you like
Of
so much. I think
course.
when I with that video, I was a junior in high school and it wasn't the best of times for me, but it's like I could just go home, just relax and just connect with like people like you because I didn't have any friends that collected dolls. All of my cousins were like, "Oh, we're getting rid of our dolls." And I was just like,
Oh,
"But I still wanna be part of this hobby." So it felt so nice to have to see someone online like you.
Mhm.
So it's such an honor that you're even on here.
yeah,
Oh,
thank you
thank
so much,
you.
Elastic, for being
Yes.
with us and sharing some of your experiences and also opening up maybe to an audience that didn't watch you 10 years ago and now they're going to go back and go, oh my gosh, let me watch all these fun videos because Johnny and Chloe's and our experiences with all of your content. So I hope a lot of people do go back, which I will be posting the link in the description for Dolastic's
Oh, thank you.
channel. You have a nice video. I was gonna say discography, but that's not the right terminology to use. Like a lot of videos to watch on there. And like I said, I'm excited to see a lot of new content and to see your journey with your baby. I think would be so much fun to
Yeah.
see dog collecting and motherhood together and
Yeah.
experiencing all of that is so nice. So thank you
Mhm.
again for wanting to be with us and share your journey through dog collecting. And if anybody has any questions, reach out, throw in the comments below, and we'll see everything. I'm so excited. All right, until
Thank
next
you.
time. Thank you so much for Dollastic to be here. Check out all of our content here on YouTube. And of course, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, everywhere you can hear a podcast, you can listen to us on there as well. So thank you, everybody, and bye.